So basically, this is the wrong shit. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So we're here working on this bell housing. I just finished tracing this. And I'm gonna cut this out, I guess, with a razor blade, drill the holes through just so I have an exact copy of this thing, and then we'll crawl underneath and see where we have to start cutting stuff out. All right, so we got a template cut out here. I'm just gonna kind of wedge this. What? Did I really just get this thing to fit? And I didn't even cut anything off of it. Are you shitting me? What? I'm confused as hell right now. Why is this fitting? Wait, I think I had it upside down. All right, so we're hitting over there, obviously. This has to kind of curve down so I could get this hole, I'm assuming, lined up with the oil pan there. I mean, as far as this plate is concerned, it actually doesn't look like much needs to come off of this thing. Dowel pin. All right, I'm gonna take a little bit more off. I want to make sure I have enough room here. So I'm just gonna take a nice flat spot off of that area. Alright, that's looking pretty good. So we basically cleared the obstacle of the header without even having to take that much off. I mean, that's just maybe half of the flange. Alright, so laying this over the QuickTime here. That is not bad at all. So with everything lined up, that's basically what we're looking at. And nothing on this side needs to come off. It's really just that. And like I said, I'm probably gonna have to come down a little bit further just because this is thicker. But I mean, really not much. I might just come in more, a little bit, maybe take it right to the edge here, being most of that's gonna be gone anyway. And I'll maybe carry it down farther here. So let's go pull out the plasma cutter that's buried over there. We'll mark this onto the actual plate of steel, and then we'll cut it out and we'll see how it fits on the block and how flat it's actually going to sit. Alright, so after doing a bunch of searches online and checking out LsxMatt, I noticed that a lot of people are saying there's problems with the plate rubbing against the back of the engine or the flywheel. And I noticed that the block plates that they're using is actually conveniently cut around the oil pan. And then after further digging, I noticed that the part number that I have is an RM6023, and the part number they're using, and this thread is from 2018, it's not even that old, is an RM8020. And then I noticed that the one that I have is meant for an old small block, basically what's in the Trans Am, to fit an LS1 style T56. So basically, this is the wrong shit. And what sucks even more is I already went and cut this thing. Good thing I didn't actually cut the bell housing, because I can still sell this and probably get a good amount of money for it. The best thing, at least, is that Amazon has the one I need in stock with free 1 day. So I'm gonna go and order this right now. I should have it tomorrow, and I'll check back with you guys in a second. All right, so it is 2 days later. Bell housing came late yesterday, didn't have time to work on it. That's when I got the harnesses and the seat brace done, but I'm back at it today. We got the right one. You can see this backing plate is actually shaped around the oil pan. I already came in here, notched the backing plate, and I notched the actual bell housing. I used just a Sawzall blade. That seemed like the best way. This is some thick metal. I don't think the plasma cutter was gonna get through this. And that came out pretty neat. I'm happy with that. All right, so there's the actual backing plate, and everything lines up really good here. All right, so we got it torqued down. I got the bell housing in here. Happy to say it fits beautifully. We have plenty of space. I would say maybe 3/4 of an inch between that header there. And the part that I notched is absolutely perfect. Plenty of room, looks nice and clean. And everything's lining up good. You can see we're perfectly lined up with the bolt holes. And I think we're ready to get the clutch in. I'm gonna clean the surfaces really good, bolt this to the engine, and then I'm gonna come in here with a dial indicator on a magnet. Just run it around here. I wanna see how far off the alignment might be on center. I don't have adjustable dowel pins. Depending on how far off it is, honestly, I'm probably not gonna get them and get this perfectly centered, just for the fact that the transmission in this thing has over 100,000 miles. It's definitely kind of due for a rebuild as it is, especially with the power I'm pushing. It's definitely around the corner, so I'm not gonna, you know, fret about it, trying to get this thing perfectly aligned, trying to get these dowel pins and doing all this. If it's not too far off, if the transmission will slide in fine, then I'm just gonna leave it the way it is. All right, I don't know how much of this you guys are gonna be able to see. I have nowhere to hang the camera, so I just have you hanging off the drive shaft loop here. But I went and put my dial indicator on the flywheel. I sanded down this inside lip to make sure it's perfectly flat, and I reset it to 0 right at the top. So right now the gauge is on 0. All I'm going to do now is turn the crank around, and we're going to see how much this moves. This is going to tell us if the exact center of this big hole here is kind of offset, maybe slightly up that way, or slightly down this way, or slightly up that way. And what that's going to affect is when you go to put your transmission in, it's not going to be perfectly centered with the pilot bearing. That can lead to engagement issues, or if it's bad enough, your transmission actually might not even want to slide in. Starting to move. All right, we got to 10. That's a positive 10. And then it started moving back the other way, so I'm going to mark that. We're going to keep going until we see a bigger number. Careful here, I don't want to throw the reading off. All right. Still at 10. That is a positive 10. We're at 16 down here. So the numbers are going up the more we go around. We're at like 20. We got up to like 20. We're still basically at 20, but it looks like it's about to start dropping here. Still at 20 though. That is positive 20. Coming back down. That's a positive 10. Positive 5. Actually, it's right on 0, actually, right on the other side of the gap there. All right, so it looks like, just jump the gap there. We're back perfectly on 0. So we move the light, get you guys in closer, show you what we're dealing with here. All right, so taking a closer look here, you see we came back around, we were right back on 0. As we started coming out here, actually, let me see if I can move this, give you guys a little idea up close. You see as we come down, we're moving, we're moving. And we're almost at 10 right there. And that's all that was happening all the way around. This distance here is going to stay the same all the way around, but depending on if the bell housing is moved off to one side, that number is going to change. So in a perfect world, if this was dead center, we should be able to leave this on 0 and it'll go all the way around without changing. And this is where like adjustable dowel pins and stuff come in. But our max number here, we got a 10, a 10, a 16, a 20, a 20, a 20, and then we start dropping down. Here was like 15, negative 15, negative 10, then we'll go down to negative 5, and then eventually we hit 0 again. So basically this bell housing is shifted a little too far down and to the right. Now remember, we're talking about thousandths of an inch here, so this really isn't something you're going to be able to notice by looking at it. But the spec from Tremec is like 5 thousandths, and to get a number out of this, you have to divide the largest number you get by 2, so this would be 10 thousandths. So technically I'm out by 5 thousandths, like double the spec. I don't think that's enough to actually affect, and it's not going to be enough to affect, like, you know, putting the transmission in and actually causing problems. With it actually being out with that number though, if I was to put a new transmission in here, with that spec, Tremec will not warranty it. As I mentioned, my transmission is kind of old, got some miles on it, could definitely use a rebuild in the future, so I'm not going to fret over 5 thousandths of an inch. If I was putting a new 256 Magnum or something in here, I would go out of my way, order the dowel pins and do it right. But we'll save that for another video when we actually go and get a new transmission in this thing. But with that being said, I'm happy with these numbers. You know, it's out of spec, yeah, but it's not crazy out there. I gotta say though, so far, this fits really good. I mean, aside from the obvious notching I had to do over there, but I mean like the flatness of the backing plate, everything lines up perfectly with the bell housing. I don't have to, you know, close a gap between these two. Like, it lines up beautifully. All right guys, so it's a couple of days later and we're ready to come in here and measure the distance between the front of the throwout bearing and the transmission case, as well as the pressure plate teeth and the face of the bell housing. To do that, I'm just going to use one of these calipers I got from Harbor Freight, this straight edge, and we're going to actually shim it with these kind of Sonic the Hedgehog looking rings over here. And the way I'm going to do this is just lay the straight edge across the front of the throwout bearing, hold that as flat as possible. Then I'm going to measure from the top here to the face on both sides and just get the average of those two measurements. And we're going to deduct the actual width of this. .2575, 3.2495, 1.7685. All right, so here are our two measurements from the left and right of the bell housing. We're subtracting the 1.7685. That is the width of this. So that minus that, we get that. That minus that, we get that. Add those two together, we get 2.97. Divide that by 2 to get the average, and we have 1.485. Next, we're going to go into the car, get the same measurement from the pressure plate teeth to the bell housing, and then we're going to subtract the larger number from the smaller number, and that is going to give us the distance between the throwout bearing and the fingers on the clutch. So I'm going to do the same thing where I measure from the top of this. Just lay this across there. We're all zeroed out. 3.5305. All right, so we got our final numbers here. I subtracted the width of the straight edge from the measurement I just got, the 3.5305. That gave us 1.762. Then remember, we got a total of 1.485 on the transmission side. So we subtract the transmission from the bell housing and we get 0.277. Now, Monster wants this number to be 0.100, so basically 1/10 of an inch, which means we need to use the little Sonic rings to try to shim this to get this number down to there. So to do that, I'm just going to take a few of these, stick them on the slave cylinder, retake the measurements here, and then do the same math with the bell housing number until we get down to the 0.1. Let's start out with 2 of these. And they just fit right in the back here. All right, guys, so I ended up adding 2 shims, and here are my final numbers. After adding those in, I took 2 more measurements from each side of the case like I did the first time. I got 3.435, 3.3705, added them together, averaged them, subtracted the width of the tool again, and divided that by 2 to get the average. And that gave me 1.63425, and then I did the same subtraction from the bell housing measurement, and I got 0.12775. I think that's going to be close enough. I tried adding another shim and it brought it too far down below 1, and I'm happy with that. I'd rather have it a little on the loose side just to make sure we don't have any problems with the clutch staying partially disengaged or any premature wear on the throwout bearing. But I'm happy with this. We are ready to get under there, slide this thing back in, and hopefully get this thing finished up. Oh, she's moving. There we go. All right, we're kind of in the safe zone now. Oh yeah, look at that. I forgot I wanted to mention, after doing a wee bit of investigating, the bell housing, they don't give you the bolts to actually bolt the transmission to the bell housing. I actually ended up using the bolts wrong. All of the ones with the regular kind of grade 8 with the lock washers and the nuts, those are supposed to be to secure the bell housing to the plate here, like at the bottom. And being I notched it on the other side, there would have been more bolts like where that notch is. So the little Torx bolts that I thought were for this are actually supposed to be for the bell housing to the engine. They're the same length, they're the same thread pitch, so it really doesn't matter. But after looking on LsxMatt, I noticed that that's how they're supposed to be used. All right guys, about 3 hours later, car is back together. I am pretty much ready to start it up. Got the shifter back in, wheels are on, exhaust is hooked up. I filled it up, I almost forgot, but I put transmission fluid in it, and I just added an extra like half quart of oil, and we're ready to give it the first start in about a month and a half. All right, apparently battery went dead from sitting here for so long. Good thing about having 2/3 gens was I was able to take it out of the Trans Am. And let's try this one more time. Also, this thing's been sitting for so long, we have actual cobwebs in the tailpipe. Sounds good.